Rainbow Breastmilk Heart Tutorial, Advanced Keepsake Jewellery Making. Hi, I'm Nikki Lovegrove from Tree of Opals and Keepsake Supplies. Today we're learning how to create a rainbow effect in a resin cabochon stone and adding genuine diamond powder. In August I taught you how to do a rainbow effect in a direct pour in a teardrop bezel cup with fur. The Petrol Rainbow Fur Dangle Charm tutorial. I used 5 colours, but we're using 7 in this tutorial today for a more traditional rainbow. You'll need a small mixing cup for each of the 7 colours. Add around 1 ml of clear UV resin, a small bead of pre-mixed resin sparkle mix, and a tiny spoonful of preserved, dried and ground breast milk powder. To learn how to preserve, dry and grind breast milk, watch Preserving Breast Milk Part 1. We now sell the pre-mixed resin sparkle mixes in these opaque pots. They contain Padico Stardrop UV resin, which is the highest quality UV resin in the world, and what I always use for my jewellery these days. You can easily refill the pots with our loose sparkle refill packs and your usual UV resin. I normally use tiny 20ml mixing cups, but I'd run out. They're back in stock now though. They're much smaller and more convenient than these 30ml cups. They're on keepsakesupplies.com along with everything else I'm using here. Mix each colour in turn. A rainbow starts at the top with red, then orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. I prefer the red to be at the bottom, and the last 2 colours I use purple and pink. This is an 18mm heart stone mould. Place a drop of clear resin in the bottom corner, then swirl in some of the red milk sparkle mix. You only need the teeniest bit. Cure for 10 seconds and then repeat with each colour. As there are 7 colours, a good indicator that the stripes are the required width is that the 4th colour, green, is in the middle of the mould. Sometimes I like to do the colours going slightly diagonally and with a curve like a rainbow. Or I like to swirl the layers very gently so that there isn't a sharp line in between them. For the second layer, you can use a little clear and the colour mix or just the colour mix. I'm just using the colour mix here, but I had added a little more clear into each mixing pot. In the third layer, I wanted to bulk out the stone or I'd be there all day, so I did a layer of clear. I cured this one when I realised I'd made a mistake in forgetting an important element. Always reread the label and the order just before you start, even if you've got everything laid out. I wanted to show you that even after 8 years, doing this almost every day, I still make the odd mistake and have to start again. In these stones, I'm adding a little bit of genuine diamond powder mixed in with the clear resin. This is to represent 2 years of breastfeeding, known as diamond boobies. When I first started making breast milk jewellery, the awards were only bronze, silver and gold, 3, 6 and 12 months, so I made them more inclusive. They go all the way up to 10 years and beyond, with special awards for donating or donor milk feeding and for feeding through CMPA, etc. I find that if it's a sunny day, sometimes that will cause things to cure before I want them to, so I'll shut the shutters on the workshop window and switch the light on whilst I'm working with UV resin. You must be super careful that no UV light reaches your pre-mixed pots, so just take the lid off to remove a small bead for each mixing cup. You also have to keep the mixing cups away from UV light too, or they'll turn to jelly before you've used them. My little tip is to keep them in a box on your desk away from your lamp, and also cover your lamp in a box or a towel whilst it's in use. In the second layer, I'm using just the colour mixes. It doesn't matter if they overlap a little, unless you want sharp lines. Try making a few stones like I'm doing here and give your client the choice. Clear for the third layer again here. You could use epoxy resin for this piece, but you'll be there for days mixing up resin for each layer, so I definitely recommend UV resin, especially for complicated techniques like this. Layer 4 is colour mix again, so the colour is nice on the back too, which is good if the setting is open-backed. On this layer, I'm not curing between each colour, and I love the little wave pattern here between the yellow and green. This is another little variation you can try, both in a mould and in a direct pour setting. A layer of clear for the back is perfect, or you can use UV top coat. These are the 5 stones I made for my client, who kindly gave me permission to film anonymously. She chose stone number 3, top right, whereas I fell in love with stone number 5, bottom right. I wanted to take a photo of a Breastmilk Heart in a gold vermeil heart setting, so I'm setting it here whilst I wait for the client to choose her favourite stone. This is solid sterling silver plated with gold and is an affordable alternative to solid gold, which I also sell. Trim the edges of the stone. I like to use side cutting pliers and a diamond file, but scissors and a bit of sandpaper work well too. I thought the back was a bit too domed, so I'm flattening it on some 180 grit sandpaper. If you scratch the stone or you want it a bit shinier, pop the stone on a bit of white tack and dome with resin or UV top coat. I cured a couple of times, then flipped it over and levelled out the back. Pop it in the setting and use a curved burnisher to press down the crown points. The client ended up choosing a different stone, which I set in an engraved scalloped heart and made her a matching 10mm heart dangle charm necklace as a spare and a set of direct pour heart earrings. Don't forget, I've linked to all the supplies I'm using in the video description, or there's a link in my bio, or you can just go to keepsakesupplies.com. Now, relax and do some crafting.